Hi, this is Carrie Brownstein.
This is DJ Premier.
This is Darren Aronofsky.
You got the RZA right here.
Rose McGowan.
Radiohead.
Aisha Tyler.
Tribe Called Quest.
Fred Armisen.
Prince Paul.
Javier Munoz. Seth Meyers.
Frankie Cosmos.
Flying Lotus.
Hi, we're Chaim, and you're listening to the Talkhouse Podcast.
Hello, and thanks for listening to the Talkhouse Podcast. I'm Josh Modell. And this week's excellent episode, we've got one of my favorite film directors in conversation with the vocalist of one of the last 2 decades' most engaging bands, who also happened to appear in her latest movie. It's Andrea Arnold and Jason Williamson. Now, Andrea Arnold is a visionary British filmmaker who doesn't make movies very frequently, but she sure makes them count. Her first to really make a splash was 2009's Fish Tank, a coming-of-age story. That's a recurring theme in her work. That was the first place I remember seeing Michael Fassbender. She's since directed 3 more features, an adaptation of Wuthering Heights, though not the gaudy new one, the visceral American Honey, and last year's magical Bird, which stars Barry Keoghan as the deadbeat working-class dad to newcomer Nikia Adams. It's flown under the radar for sure, but please seek it out and let me know what you think. I loved it, and it's got one of the greatest soundtracks you'll hear all year, with Fontaines DC, Blur, and Sleaford mods, which leads me to the other half of today's conversation, Jason Williamson. Williamson is the lyricist and vocalist, he doesn't exactly sing, for Sleaford Mods, which has created an unforgettable, fully individual kind of post-punk for the past 2 decades, characterized by his witty, confrontational words. Like Arnold, Williamson has roots in the working class, and his music offers an unvarnished reflection of those roots. When she got in touch with him about playing a small but important role in Bird, he admitted that he wasn't familiar with her movies, but quickly became a fan. So he was in her movie, and she, in return, directed a video for the song No Touch from the latest Sleaford Mods album, The Demise of Planet X, which came out earlier this year. Check out a little bit of that song right here.
But the snatching time that was all mine for at least a length of pattern to my name. It was mine then yours, neither race course, but the cars already queuing up the lane. I said there ain't no wars, just a intercourse. I'm happy staying in my fucking lane, but something down in me, not like a misery. I'm down in Astor, absolutely up my face.
In this open and generous chat, Arnold and Williamson talk about their shared backgrounds, about shooting Williamson's pivotal scene in Bird, and about Arnold's career as a dancer and TV presenter for various BBC shows. I'm a fan of her work, and I had no idea about this entirely different part of her career. Jason also reveals his unique post-show ritual and laments, sort of, the fact that you can't just simply get drunk anymore and hit people. Enjoy.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right, yeah. Yeah, it's just absolutely freezing again.
Yeah, same here, down in here in London. You're Nottingham. I was going to wear my hoodie as well. I should have done.
Yeah, I think I look better with the hoodie on.
I've got the Sleaford Mods hoodie I got. But then I thought it would put you off.
No, you should have. You should have, by all means. If you'd have felt better.
I mean, it's got Sleaford Mods right across here.
Yeah,
I thought
exactly.
he'd be looking at himself the whole time. So it was out of respect for you that I didn't. But also with respect for you, I'd like to have done.
Thank you so much. I would have done the same thing, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Very honourable of you.
It's so weird doing a talk where you have no idea where it's going to go.
I think so, but and I'd like to thank you for agreeing to do it, Andrea.
Yeah, I don't normally do things like this, you know, but because I love you, I'm doing it.
Come on, that's too much. It's too much.
Yeah, I'm going to make you feel guilty.
You are.
We should pretend we're on the back of a bus and just chatting.
Yeah, like they used to in the 80s on the way home from school.
Yeah.
Or when we used to go into town at night for a drink.
Yeah, or on the Woolwich Ferry going back and forth.
What's that? Where's that?
So when I was a teenager, because there was nothing to do, me and my friend Deborah, we used to get the 96 bus up to Woolwich, and then we just basically go back and forth on the Woolwich Ferry like for hours and hours because it was free. And we'd hope we'd meet boys. We were about 11, 12 or something.
Did you meet boys?
No, didn't meet any boys. But it was a sort of fun thing to do. It was like a day out, you know, the bus to Woolwich and I lived in Dartford. So the bus to Woolwich was about 45 minutes. And then we just basically spent hours on the Woolwich Ferry going back and forth. So
is Woolwich South London or is that outside of London? Or
yeah, South London. Yeah. I actually really love Woolwich.
Do you?
It's now got a fancy tube, so it's kind of changing.
And you're still down that neck of the woods, aren't you?
I am. I'm in South London. I quite like South London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we did the Brixton gig, I'd forgotten how nice it was around there. Do you know what I mean? A lot more vibier than sort of North London, isn't it, really?
It's got more of a population that stays put. So there's more community, I feel. I've lived in North London as well. So I've seen both sides, and I feel like South London's got a lot of community. So that's what I like.
You kind of felt like gentrification hadn't taken a stranglehold on the place.
It has in some places,
Yeah.
even Woolwich actually, which has basically been a sort of big working class area for years, ever since I've known it. My nan used to take me there on Wednesday afternoons to get me something from BHS as well. And I know you have a song called BHS, so here you go, a little connection.
There used to be a cafe there, didn't there? A restaurant. My parents used to take me there when we used to come over here shopping or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Should we talk about how we met? I think that's is that something we have to do?
I think that's quite a good idea, because I didn't think about doing any kind of like outlay as to what we should talk about. Let's do it. Well, I was asked if I would be interested in talking to you about part in a film, and you got in touch, and I still cringe at the fact that after knowing you for this amount of time now, 2 or 3 years, I wasn't aware of you before that. And I still momentarily cringe at that every time I think about it. But yeah, you'd asked if I'd seen any of your work, and I said no, which is the right answer. I think honesty is the best thing here, isn't it? Always, I think. But it soon became quite clear that you were a universe of absolute inspiration, really.
Do you remember we had a Zoom?
Yeah.
I was a bit scared of meeting you, actually.
Why?
I don't know, because you seemed a bit like you might be scary, although now I know you're not at all.
No, I think I'm more scared of you than
Oh, really?
You are me now, because I'm like, oh, fuck. You've just got this wand, haven't you? You've got this method of working that's it's quite condensed, but at the same time, it's quite skeletal and almost chaotic, but it all works, doesn't it? And then when you see the final product, it's like, oh, fuck.
I like the chaos. I sort of invite it a little bit because I think it brings life to what I'm doing. But it's a fine line. I mean, that day you came, I don't know how much you remember that day, but that was actually a really tough day for me. That was the day when things were not going great that day. And it was a couple of days, wasn't it? But the first day that we did, how did that seem to you? Because you just came along and joined in, and we were quite far down the line by then. All I remember is it being a really tough day and feeling quite sort of challenged.
Was that because of the scene, or because of the character, especially the character?
I think it was the scene, like sometimes when you write something and then you get up and running with it, it doesn't always totally work. And I didn't feel like it was totally working. And I didn't know how. Do you remember I kept coming in to talk to you?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And I probably looked quite stressed every time I came in. And I remember you were wearing a pink shirt, weren't you? Which I really liked, that pink shirt.
Yes,
I picked that pink shirt.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Did you mind pink?
Absolutely not. And it looks really effective on screen. There was a part in that bit where you just closed in on, say, from the middle of my chest to the top of my knees, and you zoomed in a little bit, and it said it all.
Yeah, sometimes less is more.
Yeah, I think, and also the word chaos was perhaps the wrong word to choose, really. I felt that on set, everything was in its place, and it was like you were going from one plan to the other. Right, this is what we're doing today. Right, we've done that. Let's move on to this. You didn't come across as panicked at all.
Yeah, I'm quite good at hiding. Maybe I didn't show it.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, I remember it raining and I was laying on the ground. You probably don't remember that because you were inside that little house.
Right.
And I was laying on the ground in the rain, like looking at the monitor, and this lady from those houses, do you remember those houses on the beach?
Yeah.
She came along and gave me a cushion because she felt sorry for me. And then another man came down and he brought me some homemade pesto from one of those houses.
They were lovely, weren't they?
Yeah, it was an odd day. I wondered how it must have seemed to you, because it seemed like a difficult day to me. So,
well, you were like, look, you don't really necessarily have to learn the lines because it's improvisation mostly. But I thought, well, I'm going to learn them anyway. And it was quite challenging initially. We did lots of takes, didn't we? And we did 2 or 3 scenes that aren't in it. It wasn't intimidating, but it was just like, how am I going to get this right? This needs to be right. And it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, on some level, I never wanted you to feel that it wasn't about anybody there. It was sometimes the scene, and it was a really important scene.
Sure.
So it massively important to me anyway. And I just sometimes have written scenes and we do them, and then I think, it doesn't totally land. But it's interesting, that situation, because I often find a way in the edit, but at the time you want to try and find a way where you are and stuff.
What was problematic about it? Was it just not laying right then?
I don't know what it was. It was just a mixture of everything. I don't know. I think, with the door.
Yeah.
I hate constricted spaces, and it was very constricted.
Right.
I even put a budgie in a cage to try and make it feel less constricted. There was a budgie. Do you remember the budgie?
Yeah, there was, yeah.
Yeah, a little budgie, which are the most beautiful things when you look at them. They're so beautiful, budgies.
But a lot of your films have got restricted spaces in them, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm big on doorways for some reason. And that was a doorway, but I don't know, just didn't quite. Anyway, it's turned out all right in the end.
It did, yeah. Yeah, that door scene was quite awkward, wasn't it? A lot of it was cut out, wasn't it, where we were jostling outside and I wasn't going to let them in, etc. But yeah, obviously the end product, brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because the whole film is kind of mad.
But yeah, no, great film.
But it's funny, when I first met you, thank you, by the way, I kind of stepped over that. Thank you very much.
It's all right.
You had this, it's really interesting because you felt familiar to me.
Really?
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, vice versa, especially when we did the video for No Touch, and the area that we shot it in was reminding me of childhood quite a lot. And you sort of saying yourself, this is where I used to hang around and have a laugh, I mean, I don't want to sound all romantic here in the sense of how people view the working class, but is it a working class thing?
I think it might be.
It's not to be discarded, is it?
I mean, the thing is that my life's kind of changed such a lot from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I don't actually meet a load of people that had a sort of working class background like me. Not when I'm in the film world anyway. There's not a lot of people with a similar background. So when I do meet people who've had a similar kind of upbringing, I do feel like a kind of kinship or something, or sort of an understanding, because I've always got like one foot in like my past and one foot, in my life now. And
you can't shape that, can you?
You can't really. You are who you are, aren't you? But my life involves quite a lot of not, all my family still live where I grew up and stuff. But I don't, generally my life is not that anymore. So I've always got one foot in there and one foot, in this life. And you felt familiar perhaps because of that. I don't know.
I thought the same in some respects. Do you see much of your family?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, you keep connected to that side of the world as well.
Yeah, I saw my sister very recently. My brother's just moved away from where he was fairly local in Kent, but he's now moved away up north. He's gone to Manchester on a houseboat. I think he's slowly winding his way down towards here on the boat. But I do see them quite a bit. What about you?
Not much at the minute, no. My relationship with them is quite fractious. So, at the minute, there is no communication whatsoever. But,
I'm sorry.
Well, it's just one of those things, isn't it? And so hopefully down the line that might change, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, yeah.
Where did you grow up?
Grantham.
Right. Is that where your family are now?
Yeah. Which is about 25 miles away from here.
Right.
So it's like an old medieval market town, infamous for being the birthplace of Margaret Thatcher and the home of gingerbread. That's where they invented gingerbread. and one half of the Laurel and Hardy brothers, I think it was Oliver Hardy, came from there as well. So there you have it.
That's funny, isn't it? The thing that your place is famous for. I grew up in Dartford. It's famous for Mick Jagger.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Mick Jagger. My mum used to know him. She used to call him Codlips. His nickname was Codlips. It's famous for the Dartford Tunnel, Mick Jagger. And it's famous for this little bird called the Dartford Warbler, which is a really fantastic little bird because it's like a little warbler, and it was first spotted on Dartford Heath. And when you see a picture of it, what I love about it is it's got such a lot of attitude. It's got a bit of red and it's quite spiky, and it's like, get off my bloody bush, like it's like leave the bush alone. And I just thought it's so Dartford somehow. It's so the Dartford warbler is extremely Dartford. It's very spiky and it's got a load of attitude, and I just love that. But those are the three things that Dartford is famous for.
That was where we shot video, was it?
Yeah, that square is, my dad lives just down the road from there, and I had an aunt who lived there, a lot of friends who lived up there.
Yeah.
That's all changing as well now. Dartford's changing.
In what sense? What, people move in?
Well, people have clocked on that it's not far from London. So when I was feeling like I needed a bit of my home, because sometimes I feel like I need a bit of my hometown sort of, feeling. And they used to have this thing called the Dartford Show, which used to be on a weekend, and they'd have bands. And I remember as a kid it being this wild event, because they'd have bands and there'd be loads of fights, masses of fights, and everyone would get really drunk and everyone was just very leery, and it was wild, this Dartford Show. And several years ago, I thought, I'll go down and get a bit of the Dartford Show, because I remember as a kid it being exciting and wild.
What was it like?
They had like vegan burgers and things like this. It's like it had completely changed. I mean, I was only there during the day. I got no idea what it was like in the evening, but it had lost its wildness.
Well, yeah. I would imagine the wildness has been taken out of most things now, hasn't it? Like that. Do you know what I mean? It's like gone are the days you just simply can't get drunk anymore and hit people, can you? You end up going to prison.
Yeah, but we sort of need a bit of wildness somewhere, somehow.
I think so. I think it's there still, but it's in the cracks, isn't it? Or not. I don't know. There's certainly nothing wild around here apart from the wind currently.
Do you get a bit of wildness when you're on stage? That feels like that's wildness.
Yeah, that's wildness. Yeah, that's wildness. And then for a good 2 hours after, it's wildness as well, in the sense of how you feel and trying to come down from that, And I just immediately go back to the dressing room and start cleaning my shoes. And I've got this routine of cleaning the soles of the shoes and then the tops of them. And then I clean my in-ear monitors, headphone things that I wear on stage. And once all those things are cleaned and sterilised, I then move on to the shower and have a shower.
Is that every time?
That's every time, yeah. It's every time. It's every time.
I kind of understand that. I understand. I once got offered a job and it was about a serial killer. And I remember I Googled the serial killer, and I was so horrified at some of the details of what had happened with this serial killer.
Which one was it?
I can't remember his name now. I know it was to do with students, and it's a very, very famous serial killer.
Right.
And I sort of put the stuff down. I looked at everything, read the script and then looked at everything. And then I went to bed, and then I got up about 2 hours later and I was cleaning the whole house, like cleaning, like you with your shoes.
Is that because of the stress of it? Was it quite stressful, I think?
I think, well, I basically next day I got back to them and I said, I can't possibly do this. I spent all night cleaning.
Oh, fucking hell.
Because I think I was quite disturbed. And my way of dealing with the sort of violence and the sort of horror of it was to clean.
Yeah.
So it was a way of getting rid of the energy of the sort of nastiness of it. And I literally was cleaning everywhere. And I thought, I can't do this job. I'd just spend my whole life cleaning in order to make up for it.
I'm the other way with serial killers. I find it quite soothing. I don't know if that's the right word to explain it, but I find it very interesting and like that, the kind of morbid fascination type thing. I could sit there and read about a lot of them most of the day, really.
Mm.
But yeah, I hear you. I mean, what are the stages with you? I would imagine it's a little bit like recording an album when you're doing the film. It's interesting what you said earlier, where it was like you were really disappointed because it didn't turn out how you thought it would on that day. Do you get a lot of that when filming?
I guess it's like anything, isn't it? Like, maybe you experience this as well, like you have an idea in your mind, don't you, of how it's going to be. And the thing in your mind is quite a pure thing, but it's not a real thing. And it's only when you start putting all the reality together that you're dealing with the reality of your idea. And then, of course, it's never going to be like the thing you have in your head. So I've learned to let go of any sort of perfection and just, they say perfection is the enemy of good.
Yeah.
Just trying to live with the next best and also to embrace the differences that come and the things that are surprising, because although it doesn't turn out like I always imagine, you get all these amazing surprises. Is it similar when you write songs?
Yeah, like you've got to learn to forgive yourself for the thing that you've done, because as you've said, you can't. I think that when you create these ideas in your head, they tend to be perfect in the sense of how you perceived your voice over the sequence of, verse, chorus, middle eight, right, that's how it's going to go. This is how it's going to sound. But it doesn't sound like that when you bring it into reality. But something else replaces it, which becomes the song, more or less, you know what I mean? So then you go through a period of forgiving yourself and like, there's nothing wrong with this. This is absolutely fine. I've done stuff in the past where it's like, I'm convinced it's absolute shit. And then you listen to it 2 months later, it's really good. It's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, that is strange, isn't it? Once you sort of give it a bit of distance, you can sort of see and feel it differently, can't you?
Yeah, you just got these ideas that you've got to do it in a certain way, but what you've done is you've actually done that. Yeah, it's as you've said, the thing in your head. It's almost as if it's like angelic, isn't it? It's like it's almost as if it's some bizarre spirit, and the reality that the solid material thing that you've made is completely different to that, but echoes it.
Yeah. If you've got something that you've made and then you're not quite sure about it, you have to. I mean, it's you, because I don't watch my films again once they're made.
Oh, don't you?
No, but you have to play your songs, don't you? Like time and time again.
Time and time again until they're so like, you put your shoe on and you look at it, you tie it up, you look at it again, then you walk in it. It's like that sort of thing. You're constantly reassessing every song as it matures, as it grows, as you add other bits to it. I think I listened to the last album about 300 times.
Wow.
After it was done.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like I treat music like I used to treat substances or alcohol, where you just like, you really like a bit, and you bang, 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 and you're going like that. And I really rely on that to give me a bit of a lift. So I'm constantly looking for new music. And if I find an album, I'll rinse it for 3 weeks nonstop, and then I'll never listen to it again, at least for about a year or so. And that's how I find the music we create. It just becomes something like that. Once every 2 years, you get to create your own little thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you listen to it that many times, like over a period of time? Or?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's just as the albums go on, the songwriting becomes, I think in my mind anyway, it becomes better, becomes more accessible. It kind of borders more on pop music as each album's done. So you kind of marvel in that. You're like, oh, fuck, oh, okay. I wouldn't have touched that 4 years ago, but here I am now really wanting to achieve that, which I find really interesting. Was you all right at school?
Yeah, I love school. I really love school. I just loved. I went to a massive comprehensive, and it was like,
yes, yeah, me too.
There were masses and masses of kids. Like every year had like 14 classes and 30 kids in each class.
How many kids were in the school? Jesus.
So like thousands. It was massive, but I just loved it. They had a lot of arts and stuff. I actually had a funny experience last week because I went and did a little talk for Women's Day for Dartford Council.
Right.
And these two sort of ladies came up to me and went, Andrea, do you remember us? And I looked at them and they seemed like, I don't know, I didn't remember them. And they said, well, you used to be our prefect. It was so weird. It was just so weird because I don't know, anyway.
And how was it? Did you enjoy being a prefect?
I did quite enjoy it. What, you mean a bit of power? Maybe that was my future directing. Yeah. One of the things I remember a lot is that they did in those days, because, we are talking quite a long time ago now.
Yeah.
They used to do like a secretarial class for the girls.
Yeah.
They were sort of training you up to be somebody's secretary. And I refused to do that class because I just thought I'm not going to be somebody's secretary. And I was the only girl that didn't do that class. So when the girls used to do that class, I used to go outside and do cartwheels outside and do handstands and things to annoy them because I was free and not doing secretarial class. So my friend used to say that you'd get these legs, my legs would go walking past the classroom, you know, I'd be doing cartwheels and things.
You could almost imagine that in one of your films, couldn't you, as well?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was sort of cheeky, but I was not often in trouble. I was cheeky. I used to cheek the teachers, but not like be really naughty. Were you naughty?
I wasn't massively naughty, and I wasn't a fighting child. I never got into scraps, really, but I hung around with all the people that did because I lived near them and they were friends, you know what I mean? I still talk to a few of them, but yeah, I got expelled in the end.
Did you?
Yeah, but that was only about 3 months before I was going to leave anyway, so I don't think it was a proper expulsion. I think they just wanted to get rid because we were just, you know, absolutely showing no interest at all.
Were you 16 or 18?
I was 15. I was April 1986. They kicked me out. And then I signed on and started working in about September, I think. I went to work in a factory and worked there for a year. I moved in with my dad and I'd signed up to do acting at the local college. I did drama course and an English literature course and an art course because I really wanted to get into acting. I was a real big fan of films, etc., etc. And so I went for the interview at the local college and got the place. And for some reason, I moved in with my dad and he's like, you need to pay board. And I just panicked and got a job because I just thought, well, how am I going to do that being at college when the answer would have been to get a part-time job? But for some reason, I just thought, oh, I better go to work. So I got a full-time job, which I think he was really disappointed with, actually. He was like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to go and work in those places. And I'm like, well, you know, it was good money. But I did that for a year and then re-enrolled at college again and went back to do the theatre course.
So the acting thing's been with you a long time then?
I did that before music, really, and did it at O-level and then A-level and then tried to get into drama schools. But by then I'd discovered ecstasy and raving and I couldn't decipher the two. It was like, you know, this is a real disciplined art. I mean, I think I listened to too many people, really. I should have just followed my own path with it because I would imagine that a lot of people didn't take it seriously at all.
It's funny, the acting thing, isn't it? Because I think some people really get the bug. You know, I did acting for a bit.
How did you break into it then?
I think the way I got into acting was because it was sort of something that I seemed to be able to do. I was in like all the school plays and stuff at school. Like I liked all the arts really at school. I did art and dance and drama and all that kind of stuff. And I think it was just something that I enjoyed doing and was sort of good at. And I kind of continued it for a little bit out of school. But I actually, after a few years, I decided it wasn't me really.
Did you work as well? Or?
I had a stream of weird jobs after I left. I left home when I was about 18 and I really struggled, actually, first of all, because I was living in London with no proper place to live and really no way of earning any money. And I just kind of did loads of different things in order to try and earn money, worked in a market. At one point, I did singing telegrams, you know, where you go along and sing at someone, you know.
How was that?
just
bizarre.
Just stupid. You know?
Oh, okay.
I was also in a roller skate and dance group called the Roxy Rollers, who didn't really make much money. Yeah, and we used to kind of do shows in like really dodgy clubs up and down the UK. I always had like loads of bruises because I was always getting chucked about by the other members in the group.
Sure.
And covered in body glitter the whole time. I just never could get rid of the body glitter because we slathered ourselves in body glitter. I found a picture of myself then, which I've showed to my friends. I've got like crimped hair, you know, and leopard skin leotard and fishnet tights. I look, well, very 80s.
Yeah, sure. Fantastic.
Yeah, I sometimes thought about making a film about that time because it was just madness.
So it sounds like you just got the bull by the horns and just went for it.
I think partly that was moving to London and just having to make do. You know, I had to kind of find a way because I didn't have any family support or anything. There was no help financially or in any way. But the Roxy Rollers was a good time, actually, when I think about it.
I suppose when you're at that age, though, it's more about the experience, isn't it? And getting by and just having enough money for food, etc., and a few drinks. That's how I viewed it anyway.
Yeah. So when did the band thing start? Was that much later? Because the acting was obviously first.
Yeah, well, I got my last sort of audition. Got turned down for my last thing. Where was it? Cardiff School of Music and Drama, I think. And I just thought, oh, fuck this. I'd spent a year working in another factory trying to fund, because the auditions were like 30 quid a pop. And then you had to get there as well. So, I mean, it was quite expensive. And I was taking loads of whiz and going out and going clubbing, which I was really embracing.
So what is whiz?
Speed.
Oh, right. Okay. I should know that.
Amphetamine. Yeah. And pill ease and stuff like that. And I got it into my head that this wasn't the way to go if I wanted to pursue something in acting, which I think now is completely stupid, really. I think perhaps I just wasn't bang into it, and discovered music. I'd always been a music fan, and sort of thought to myself, I'll try this instead. This looks like it goes better with my lifestyle. And so that's how it started.
Wow. And you've got Andrew, haven't you? So...
Yeah, and weirdly, he's from the same county as me. He's from Lincolnshire, so we were always kind of within a close proximity of each other, I think, which is bizarre, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it is, but good in a way, because you've probably got a language between you that is like an unspoken language about what you know about that sort of area and stuff.
Also in the way we work together, which I'm sure you have as well, with people that you work closely with, this unspoken thing, and people, there's no, ego is obviously there, but you put it aside because you need to get the mechanics of the idea done, or the mechanics of the next move, or wherever this is going next done, you know what I mean? You're constantly working towards the band rather than yourself,
Yeah. What comes first? Is it music or lyrics, or there's no main way of doing it?
No main way, yeah. I think sometimes you can get the power, a good bit of music from Andrew is really powerful and it's really inspiring, and you can get lost in it. And you have to kind of pull yourself away from it and then go back to it a month later, and, not get too obsessed with getting an idea there and then. And then sometimes it's words, words can be so inspiring. And I do the words, obviously, and I don't want to blow smoke on my own arse here, but you know what I mean? You're writing them down, you're like, oh, fuck, that's brilliant. And you're like, right, yeah. So, and that can infuse you, and it will find one of Andrew's loops, it like a magnet almost, it will just fly to it.
And do you fight ever, or is it all quite amicable?
No, not really. I think we fight internally.
Is that because you're grown up now?
Yeah. I did shout at him once, and he just went, right, bye. Just put the phone down. I'm like, oh, fuck. What about you?
Well, it's kind of different because I usually do the writing by myself, which is quite tough, actually. I think because my things that I write are so personal and so emotionally connected to me that I find it quite hard to do that with anyone else. But I have worked sometimes with other writers, and I absolutely love it. I've worked a couple of times with other writers, not on my own stuff, but on other projects, and I've really enjoyed it because I love being with people and figuring things out, So, but then obviously I have the crew, because there's the writing and then there's the shooting, which is a different thing.
All of your films have been written solely by you then, and then you just take that to a group of people and you create a film with them, sort of thing.
Yeah, so I usually struggle with the script myself, which I'm doing now for the next one. It sort of seems to be what I have to do. I do know people who work with writers and stuff and, jointly write things together, and I'm always a bit envious because it always seems like a nice thing to be able to do. But I think my things are so particularly me that I just have to stick it out, really. But it's always a bit of a struggle, to be honest.
When did it become apparent that was something that you were very good at?
Oh, God. I mean, every time I start something, I feel like I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
But this is what's brilliant about you, Andrew, because on the set of the video, we're like, that's it, that's my last film. I'm like, that's so brilliant, because I know it's not going to be, I don't know you that well at all, but I know it's not, but that's so fantastic. this kind of like the absolution of like almost complete and utter self-doubt and everything that goes with it. You know, everything's diluted and everything's in watercolors, and you want it to be brilliant colors. And I just thought that's fantastic.
Actually, I've had quite a lot of people say to me, because I think on the last one I was going, right, that's it, I'm not making any more films. And of course, I am, of course. And
of course you are.
I don't know whether this is true for you, but like making things is like a need for me, really.
Yes,
it's like I need to do it. Is that the same for you?
Oh, totally, yeah, utterly. And I'm trying now to be more. When shall we do the next thing? And when is the right time to do the next thing? And shall I go speed? Is there anything wrong with speeding into new ideas straight away? That's how I'm thinking at the minute.
Yeah.
Almost like you go to the gym and then 2 hours later you go back again, because there's nothing wrong with that in some respects. And that's the same with, I say, well, from my point of view anyway, the creative thing. You know, you've gone there, you've exercised all this energy, and now you're spent, and really ideally you should just rest. But you think, oh, fuck it. Let's go again and see what happens. I think the way the world is at the minute, I feel like I want to keep saying stuff, you know what I mean?
Is that like a hunger, do you think? A hunger for it sort of thing?
Well, I don't know. It's more like if I say the words back to myself, then it comforts me. It's like, I'm not feeling very great at the minute, or this is really scaring me, or what is this? I don't understand this. And if I say that back to myself in a song, then it becomes almost like a medicine, so to speak.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That makes me feel a bit emotional.
Well, I'm sure it's the same with you, isn't it? I don't know if all your films are sort of based on your own experiences, but certainly with the last one, you did disclose some of that to me. So in a way, perhaps you were looking for that kind of thing as well.
Sometimes like the thing that you're creating almost seems more real than anything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I wanted to ask you, how did you view, after the elation, which I'm assuming you felt with success, how did you feel afterwards? How did it then bed into your day-to-day life? How did you learn to live with it?
I mean, I just ignore it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I like making things, but I don't like, I find it quite, I never Google myself, for example, or look at anything. So I don't read anything.
Sure.
And I haven't done that. Is that what you mean about
yes,
the sort of, Yeah, I sort of try and keep out of that side of things as much as I can, which is why it's unusual for me to be sitting here.
Yeah, sure. And again, I'm really grateful that you.
Yeah, I'm really going to make you feel guilty now.
I know you are, aren't you? What the fuck do you mean you didn't know?
I'm laying it on thick. I'm laying it on thick.
Yeah.
It's all because of you. No, I'm sort of testing myself a little bit, because I try and keep out of doing stuff that puts myself out there in a way. I like to just make things, and it's almost like I want to quietly make things. I mean, it's different for you because you've got to get in front of a load of people and do it, haven't you? Do you keep a persona for that?
I think it's me until I start the song, and then I turn into about 8 different people.
I noticed when we did the video that when we started playing the song and you started doing the song, I was just like, wow, you just like it's just like a light went on.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And you just kind of were just this, it was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, really, honestly.
Thank you. That means a lot. You want it to be really good, don't you? It's like, this has got to be really good. Like, you just step into it, So 1 minute you're whoever from a band you're really inspired by, and the next minute you're someone else, and the next minute you're a person in a scene from a film that you were really inspired by, but you do it all under the hood of your own personality and try and mold all of that inspiration into the moves on stage. And I find, like, when I start touring, we don't do any rehearsals. I learn the songs on my own in the house, and we literally get on stage and Andrew starts the music, and I then start reciting the words I've learned, and all of the moves then start to take form. So that I really like doing it that way, because it's messy and it obviously fits under this guise of punk rock. And, you can sort of it's like 5 or 6 dress rehearsals before then the moves become more pronounced. And by the 10th gig, you've then got a set of moves that you just stick to for the rest of the year.
Ah, interesting. So you're not being spontaneous. I mean, you sort of set things become almost like a
almost like a set piece, like
Yeah.
so Jason enters stage right and moves over to the corner, does this, twizzles around, walks down there. But I really like that, and you can mess around with it, but you keep that kind of framework for the rest of the year. I was talking to a few people who, a lot of the guitar bands where they change the songs quite frequently. I'm like, how the fuck do you manage to do that? But I guess, with kind of rock and roll, it's kind of the lyrics are not as many as what you've got in. We've just they're just like a series of monologues, aren't they? Basically, so
you've got a lot of lyrics. I think you've got
tons.
a lot to remember.
Yeah, so that's how I do it. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting because it looks totally spontaneous.
Yeah, well, the energy is, but it's like you kind of, oh, right, okay, yeah, it's this song, so I'm going to move over here and I'm going to do that.
Yes,
and then
it looks fresh as anything.
Thank you.
It does. Where you're obviously living in the moment, even if you know roughly what it is, because it feels really fresh.
Yeah, you get to exercise. You bring the songs to life with emotions that you're feeling at the time. So in that sense, it's like a fresh batch of fruit every night. Do you know what I mean? You get up, you're feeling a certain way. You can put that into the song, and that will then give the song life.
Do you think your life turned out the way you imagined it would, or has it turned out completely differently?
Yeah, it turned out really different. I didn't think I'd get anywhere. So I marvel in the success in the sense of it's quite intimidating. But these days I'm better at it. But before it was quite, because I always wanted to be famous. This is the thing. It's like I have this skill set and I learned another skill set, but I always wanted to be famous. And so when I achieved that, it wasn't the answer. So then you have to pull that back. You have to curl it back. Do you know what I mean? It's like, right, okay, where am I going to go from here, sort of thing.
Yeah, because I'm going to say now you're famous. Is it what you thought?
Yeah, a little bit. But I also love what I do. So the two things kind of worked out, really. It was like I fell in love with what I wanted to do about 10 years into wanting to be famous. By the time I hit 30, I was falling in love with music rather than, thinking I've got this skill set as a singer, I can play guitar, I'll just do it. You know what I mean? I'll wear some nice clothes and that'll be it. But no, that wasn't, that's not the way it should be, really, I think. And that wasn't the way it worked out for me.
You do wear nice clothes.
Thank you very much. It's very kind of you, and yourself too. So,
oh my God.
There you are. You're a right snappy dresser.
I'm dungaree queen.
Well, you look good in them, though.
Oh God. Oh God. I'm 65 next week, so 2 weeks' time or something. So
oh, yeah.
Where does life go? Because it goes so fast.
I thought you were my age, like 55.
No. Oh, well, that's good. I'll keep that one up then.
No, you don't look
anything.
It. No, you certainly don't look it. Where does it go? Yeah, where does it go?
I know loads of people my age and older into really I went to see Underworld at the Brixton Academy.
What was it like?
It was full of really lots of old people, really. And
Sure.
I thought it's funny, isn't it? Because the care homes, instead of getting these sort of local choirs coming in, they're going to get these bands coming in now. It's going to be completely different.
Well, I think it's changed.
You get a cover band called Underpants maybe come into the
Underpants. Well, I think it's changed, hasn't it? It's no longer you're no longer resigned to, angina and fucking whatever form of cancer these days. People are living longer and they're like, well, I'm not going to sit down. I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing,
Yeah. I mean, my life never turned out the way I don't know what I thought my life was going to be, actually.
Well, are you happy with the way it turned out?
Yeah, I guess. I've had an amazing life, actually. Incredible life, really. So hopefully I've got more to go. I could never have imagined my life as it's been, not in a million years. I think I thought I was just going to get married and have 5 kids, or something like that, because that's a lot of what was around me. And so that was kind of how I saw the future, because that was the sort of what was around me. And then, well, don't know, left home and things start changing. So as soon as I left home, everything changed, really, I think. I was a punk and, I was always the one who was not going to do the normal thing.
Yeah. Well, so was it a goal to be a writer?
No, my God.
Did it just fall from the sky one day? And it was
No, I
like,
wanted to be a dancer for a bit, and I was a dancer for a little bit, not in any official way because I didn't get any training. So I just got like dancing jobs, like I told you, the Roxy Rollers, and then I danced a bit on Top of the Pops as well.
did you?
Yeah.
For who?
They were called Zoo. Basically, it was Flick Colby, who was a choreographer, but it was kind of a slightly wilder time when there's a couple of choreographed things, but really mainly it wasn't. It was mostly dancing in the audience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you get like spend all day getting dressed up and then you just like dance in the audience and you get paid really well.
Who played while you were dancing? Can you remember?
I think one of the first things I did was Under Pressure, David Bowie and
Fantastic.
Queen.
Yeah.
And they painted my face and I had my face superimposed over the song. I just had to stay very still while they put my face on the...
That's incredible.
It's weird.
Was that like live in the studio then?
Yeah, it was in the studio. It was, BBC.
Yeah, sure.
BBC
Yeah.
Studios.
Yeah.
So I did that for a bit. I did the Roxy Rollers.
Okay.
And then I got a job on TV. I did this thing called Number 73. It was like a Saturday morning thing. And I was about 18 when I got that job. And it kind of changed my life really because it was really well paid. It was like a little family of people. I basically got paid to just have a really good laugh. And I mean, it was a mixture because I really, really loved the rehearsals. I really loved doing the job, but I was absolutely terrified when it went live on a Saturday.
Yeah, sure.
That was quite stressful because everything that comes out of your mouth is recorded forever.
Yeah.
And I wasn't naturally confident in that situation. And a lot of the people I was with, they'd sort of done a bit of acting training and stuff like that. I didn't have that sort of confidence from any sort of training. So I was just pretty much off the street and they, got put into that situation. Yeah, so that was about 7 years of my life doing that. And I learned to drive and got myself sort of sorted. So it was actually a really great thing. What was the first time you sort of felt like, oh, I'm sorted?
God, that's a good question. I don't know, actually. I think when I had it all under control with the old booze and everything and was like on the track to mending and then getting an idea of what responsibility actually was, sort of being able to operate in a normal manner, like an adult way, and was able then to be, kind of a proper guardian to the kids. It could have gone the other way, I think. And I was quite fortunate that I managed to nip it in the bud at the last minute. I was about 43 when I gave everything up. I think after about 3 months, I knew that I'd stop and I knew that I wouldn't go back to it. And that's when I knew that I felt like I'd arrived. Do you know what I mean?
In yourself kind of thing.
Yeah. I think also actually meeting my wife, Claire, as well was... it felt like I'd arrived. It was weird, like you go through lots of relationships and some of them are very, impulsive and chaotic. But this was everything rolled in, but it was for some reason really settled as well. So that was oddly reassuring because I was obviously very suspicious of relationships up until then because none had worked out. And, I was kind of like a sole trader, so to speak, really. I'd had these ideas of getting somewhere in a band and thought anything else around me would be, sort of like an albatross around my ankle, really. So I needed to just think about the career. And but by the time I met Claire, that kind of all worked out.
Thank God for that, then.
Yeah, thank God for that, isn't it?
It's funny, isn't it, that you can have that settled thing. Seems like that. Yeah. Did that coincide with you giving up everything as well? Or is that too personal a question to ask?
No. I think... No, it didn't. I was a nutter when I met her and she was fine with it. I don't think she realised the extent of the problem. So she just went with it for a good 2 years. And then after a while, she was like, there's something else going on here. So you need to think about what that is, because it's controlling you, which was all news to me. I was like, what? Like, what the fuck's that? So, so it took me a while to then think, well, obviously something else is quite wrong. So then there was work towards that, So, but good, I think.
Good for you. Good for Claire.
Yeah.
I like to hear those stories.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Thanks for listening to the Talkhouse Podcast, and thanks to Jason Williamson and Andrea Arnold for chatting. If you liked what you heard, please follow Talkhouse on your favorite podcasting platform and check out talkhouse.com for all kinds of great written pieces and other podcasts in our network. This episode was produced by Myron Kaplan, and the Talkhouse theme was composed and performed by The Range. See you next time.